Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Wednesday morning, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Guys, it's still early. It's a little bit before 8:30 a.m. The pollen still have me feeling a little blah. But I want to jump on. I want to talk to you guys about a very long, detailed message that I received last night. And if I'm honest, I've gotten several messages like these. I don't really talk on relationships. I think you gotta kind of like find more your relationship people for that. Your relationship and marriage gurus, if you will. But I do want to talk on this email because as I read through her email, I realized how broken she was. I realized how she allowed others to get so much into her head, like many women do. Not all, of course. So I'm not going to speak on relationships or marriages per se, but I do want to speak on the fact that as women, we have to know that there are people out here who still value you even when you are 50 and 60 years old. Or just, let's just say, not in your 20s. I'll just say that, right? Because society will try to sit here and make you think that, all men, all caps, all men want someone who's 21 or 25. That's not true. That's not true. I know men, right, who will not even date a 20-something year old because they're just at a certain place in their lives, not just age-wise, but they're at a certain level in their life that they just, and not to say that all 20-something year old brings drama, and not to say that all 20-something year olds don't know who they are and just going to demand too much attention, too much this. I'm not saying that because I was the 20-something year old who was solid, right? So, but I can remember being a little girl, like little, and people tell me I had an old soul, like little girl. But either which way, so I'm not saying that. So no, every single man don't want a 21 or 25 year old, right? Many men do, but that's okay. That's their privilege. That's their preference. Well, if you desire to be with a 20-something year old, then go get you a 20-something year old, right? That may not be your preference because, again, sometimes that come with some drama. But if that's what you want to do, then go do what you want to do and don't worry about who's going to say what. You're a cougar or you're this, you're that. We got to get to a place in life where we truly live our lives for what makes us happy. We are so concerned about what people will say or think. And I just thank God every day. I just never, all caps, never, ever been that person who cared about what anyone thought about me or my life. And maybe that's why I am so solid in knowing who I am, right? I don't move with the masses. Do you know how many people are living behind closed doors in a marriage that they're going through hell behind those doors, that when they present themselves in public, it looks like a fairy tale? Okay, so, and I threw that in there because you also said, you're kind of going through this phase where people are trying to like make you feel bad for not being married or remarried, if you will, in your 50s or whatever. So the point I'm trying to make is people, right? People will attempt to try to make you fit into their box or what society has says you should be doing by your quote unquote age, etc. That's marriage. That means you should have a marriage, a white picket fence, children, a college degree, own a home, work 40, 50 hours a week, retire, sit in your rocking chair and meet Jesus. That's what society tells you a lot of times. And if that's what you want to do, if you enjoy doing that, please do that to the fullest. But that life is not for everyone. Some people have their life dedicated to purpose and calling. Some people have their life dedicated to their career. Some people dedicate their lives to their spouses, their children, whatever you want to do. Now, if you're already shaky in that area and you truly, truly want to be married, then that's cool. But you got to get out that mindset of thinking that there are no available men because you are in your 50s and all men want women in their 20s. It's not true. It's not true. I promise you it's not. And I'm not even speaking about men who are just male. I know some great men, right? But I will tell you this, sis. Men, I never say all in anything because it's never all in anything. But men are extremely attracted to confidence. Men are extremely attracted to confidence. Most men, because you got some men who may not really be, they may be struggling with their own identity, or just not identity per se. Well, yeah, I guess they're still struggling and try to get their stability. And sometimes that can be a little intimidating when you know who you are and they still haven't really, and that's no disrespect to them because we all, listen, we get it when we get it, period, right? But when you know who you are, that comes across. And I'm not even talking about a facade of confidence, right? Meaning you dress a certain way, or you're wearing labels from head to toe, like all that facade. That's not what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about internal confidence. And many times, personally, my opinion, confidence comes from when you are tapped in spiritually. You know who you are within God. Because if you're trying to have confidence based on the flesh level, you're comparing yourself with everybody. You're comparing yourself with a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, whatever. You're comparing yourself with this body type, that body type, blase, blase, blase. And look, I mean, just how many years ago were the size 2 women in? Now it's the voluptuous. Listen, people move with the masses. This is why you have to be solid in knowing who you are. People don't think for themselves. Not everybody, of course. Most people don't think for themselves. That's why they're shifting all over the place. You got to know who you are. So the first step is what? Healing. From reading the things that you said to me, and things that you've encountered in childhood and even in your first marriage. And I'm sorry, when I was reading your stuff, I was just like, you know what? People have been through some things. People have been through some things. And many times, you don't even know it. But you judge someone's actions, not knowing what they've been through. So when I read your email, it was just heartbreaking, the things that you have endured all of your life, right? So with you, of course, I would suggest, just my opinion, the first thing is healing. Again, there is just no way around trying to move forward in life, in relationships or marriages or whatever your deal is, without healing your broken, wounded soul from childhood issues, right? Or to that toxic first marriage. You got to start back at the core. And that's what happens in healing. Again, people can say heal, just heal, 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 heal. That's just a word, right? But you got to ask God to step in. You got to get to the point where you're tired of having the same results. You got to get to the point where you realize that you're the common denominator. You're running off good men, even in your email, right? That's what happens a lot of times with toxic women. It's not that you don't have good men. It's just that toxic women aren't used to these type of men. These type of men scare you because they're going to hold you accountable. These men look you in your eyes, right? These men help you to become a better person, but because you're not on that level of wanting to receive that, and many times not even knowing that you need to receive that and that you need to heal, what happened? You run these men off. And then they say, oh, there's no good men. No, you got to heal. When you heal first, you will really, when you're healed, you will realize, you will have this awakening like, there are a lot of good men in the world and have always been. But when you were unhealed, you only saw the toxic ones, right? So once you heal, again, ask God to step in, because healing looks different from everyone. We've all been through different things, right? Your path may be different from your best friend or from your sister, whatever. Ask God to step in to show you how to heal. There's no doubt about it. You're going to sit in that you guys hate so much. You're going to sit in a single season or a / isolation season. God can't work on you if you are literally distracted by dating, by getting your emotions and all that stuff attached to other people. You gotta sit in isolation season, and people just can't do that for some reason. All right, so once you heal, then you will start to really realize who you are. Most importantly, who you are within God, right? He will then start to align you with your purpose and your calling. If you're not already tapped into that, he will also start to align you with other people who will be an example for you, who will expose you to different ways of thinking, etc., right? So within that season, you're rising. And then once you're healed, not to say you're going to be perfect, because many times triggers will still always be there. It's more about learning how to deal with triggers, right? So it's not that you won't ever think about the things that have happened to you in childhood or your first marriage. It's just now that you won't self-destruct and run from your triggers. Instead, you will know how to, and that will all be a process as well. But once you're healed and you know who you are, not based on society's standards, because all of them just as lost as they want to be, right? When you know who you are, you will attract men. You don't have to, you wouldn't be out here looking, you'll be trying to repel them off, right? Because men are attracted to confidence. You will know what you carry. So anybody who's going to be in your presence, right? And this is for any men just listening as well. Just please plug men in, right? Because I know there are some great men who've been exposed to toxic women, as well. But you will have choices versus you trying to run behind and make a man do right or see you or just shake him up and like, hey, see me, I'm just, this good woman. I can cook. I can this. Listen, you would not, you will attract that type of spirit, that type of peace, that type of healing. You will attract all of that, regardless if you're quote unquote 55. Because if you think about it, right, because in your mind, what you're dealing with now from what you said is that society have you so down on yourself, like basically your time is up in the dating game or the marriage game, that, and you're starting to believe that because you said now that when you go places, it's almost like you don't feel that you're catching people's eyes. Excuse me, guys. Like you don't feel like you're catching eyes like you used to, right? Well, think about the eyes you caught when you were, I don't know, 20 or 30 or whatever, Think about the eyes that you did get. Well, what were those really good men? Let's keep it real here. Were those really good men, or were they just trying to, So it's not even about the quality. It's about the quantity. So no, you may not be attracting 50,000 men per day or getting there, but why would you even need that, right? When you know who you are, you don't even need that. Sometimes I walk into places, my best friend, she makes me laugh at this all the time, because like I live in my head, right? I literally live in my head. So we can be in Walmart. I promise you. And by the time we get out there, like we go in there for whatever we're in there for, and I'm just in my head. I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about this, my family, And every time we walk out, she's like, Kizzy, you don't even see how many men were trying to get your attention or who were like trying to like come on this aisle or speaking. And I'm like, you know what? I hope these men don't think I'm like some old stuck up, because I'm just the complete opposite. But you don't even pay attention to that stuff, right? You don't. I intentionally try to do that, pay attention more, because I want to be sure I'm smiling at people. The mask now kind of got everybody weird out right now, but this mask thing is just crazy. But my point is, I try to smile at people because I do not want to come across as a person who's just stuck up or not, because I'm the complete opposite, right? I'm just a free spirit, but I'm in my head. So the point I'm making is, you don't even think about that stuff. You don't even think about that stuff. I can't tell you how many men I meet per day, just in general. It might be a general conversation, right? But you know, you're not focused on that. You're just really not. I mean, that shouldn't be your only focus on how many men are approaching me per day. And do you know, if I'm honest, at least 95 to 100% of them, the first thing they say is your confidence. It's something about your presence, your confidence, your walk, your swag, your this, but it always goes back to your confidence. So don't let society tell you that you have to look a certain way, or you have to dress a certain way, or you have to, no, it's about your confidence. Have you ever met a person, there's a young lady who I went to school with, of course I wouldn't say her name. I think she's beautiful because I think everybody's beautiful, right? But society wouldn't deem her to be, you know, beautiful, if you will. But her confidence, and she used to attract all the dudes, like seriously. And people could say things to her, but it's almost like it never really affected her like that. But then later on, I found out that she came from this great two-parent household, and two-parent doesn't always mean that it's healthy, but she came from this great two-parent household, and she had a father who really instilled, as well as mother, instilled those values in her very early on. And they let her know, you're beautiful. You're everything. You can be what you want. I do that to my niece. My niece is about to graduate high school, and her confidence level when she goes on interviews and things like that for her first job, you know, she's looking these people directly in their eyes. Like, confidence is everything. But that confidence has to be solid. It can't be a facade. It can't be made up. Oh, I'm just confident. You hear people talk about they're so confident and they're this and that, and they're going based more on all these labels that they're with. Please, whatever. And lastly, again, as a woman, just because you're confident, it doesn't mean that you won't have your areas of insecurities. It doesn't mean that you won't have some days where you feel like, whoo, this ain't it today. Feeling like a Teletubby, this ain't it today, right? But that's cool. We're human. But that should not be running your life. You have a day or two, even a week at times. You ain't feeling your best. It is what it is. But you get yourself back up. Right? Stop letting people tell you that you got to dress like an old maid because you're 55. Kick off those Mary Janes, right? Kick off those new bucks. And listen, if that's what you want to do, then restyle yourself. If you like your Mary Janes, wear your Mary Janes. But you got to feel good within those Mary Janes. So don't let people dictate how you move. Don't let people dictate what age of a man you should be in. You can't date younger man because if you want a younger man, listen, if you want a younger man, do what you do. I'm just saying, I love everybody. I just don't have time to be buying no PlayStations, time to come home and my windows bust out. I don't have time to be worried about when the next Jordan's coming out. I'm not buying no Jordans. I like a man. I like an all cap MAN mature man. Love to all my younger guys, because y'all like to email me like, well, I'm only 30, but I'm mature. I know men who are in their 20s, and they're probably more mature than men in their 50s and 60s. You're right. You're absolutely right. But remember, it's not one size fit all. But it says, if you want you a younger man, go find you a younger man. Don't worry about what. Go find you a younger man if that's what you want, right? Oh, you also did say that one of the reasons why you feel like you want to date a little bit younger is because you feel like the men on your age are not attracted to women your age, meaning you're 55. So you feel as if a man who's 55 may not want you at 55. Well, I've heard some yes and no's to that, right? There's a couple that I know, actually. They're both in their 50s. She's hot. He's sexy too now, right? Respectfully, right? But they're a beautiful couple. And Actually, I'll send you their profile. But they're both like in their mid-50s. And I mean, they're doing it. They're traveling the world, the whole 9 yards. And they're very, very happy. They're on their second marriage. She's on her third marriage, respectfully. He's on the second. But they're enjoying themselves because they both feel like, listen, we don't have no young children. We don't have nothing holding us back. We both have already retired. So they're living the life, right? So if that is the case, because I've heard some men say that too. If they're mature, I think they kind of do want a woman maybe a little bit younger, not always so much 21, but younger. Well, here's another thing to that, right? And again, remember, it's not one size fit all. You got to also remember, the same way that you're in your head about aging, you're 55. Do you know that there's a possibility that the man who is 55 could be in his own head, right? I mean, I think men or women are a little bit different when it comes down to certain things. I think we be too much in our head. And also society has pumped that nonsense in us about age, where we feel like a man who's walking around at 55, and he has a 21-year on his arm, is like he's not insecure. Do you know sometimes that's why he has a 21-year-old? Because it's almost like a deflection of what he really feels about himself. He feels like, okay, I'm getting older. I might have some money now, but this physical ain't really going on like it used to go, respectfully. We're growing here. This physical ain't really happening like it used to happen. Now, I got to jumpstart some things. So, I should say jumpstart. Lord, okay. I got to jumpstart some things, respectfully. So, this 21-year-old physically as well, but mentally, that's going to help me jumpstart some things. Also, that will make me look a little younger. Make me look like I'm the man. I have it. So sometimes you're thinking it's about you. He don't want you because you're 55. In reality, he's going for his own insecurities. You at 55, you are very, very well knowledgeable in, so he may feel like he can't really hold up to. I don't know why we're talking about this, but I'm trying to make a point. Y'all work with me here, right? Where the 21-year-old may not know her head from her feet, so he don't have to really worry about pleasing her as much. If that makes sense. I'm feeling convicted. I'm just trying to make a point, Lord. I don't know if this point is coming across, but I'm sure y'all get it, right? I'm sure y'all get it. But either which way, the whole point is, you're in your head thinking he don't want you, but he wants her, potentially, because it almost helps him to feel better about getting older himself. So I don't think it's that men don't have their own insecurities when they get older. I think it's just sometimes different from our insecurities. Like, what do? We worry about we getting 5-10 pounds, and we just, and you got some men who worry about that too. Of course, you have your gym brats and things like that, but most men don't really. They care about their money. They care about their jump start and things like that. We be in our head about certain things. They be in their head about certain things. Sis, you are everything. You are beautiful. You are chosen. You are enough. Do you know there's only one you? There's only one you. There's only one you. So be sure that you unpacked all of that toxic trauma stuff that was placed on you, let it be in childhood or the first marriage. Because again, many times in marriages and relationships, when it's toxic like that, you will have the guy say things to you intentionally to try to like really break down your confidence. I dated this guy for a long time, but it's so crazy because he would say like little sarcastic things, like, throw them little sarcastic things in. But you know what God always made happen? God is so good. Now that I think about it, God have had my back from the beginning, honey, of everything, the beginning of time. God will have it fixed that we will be out to certain places and men will literally come up to him in a very respectful fashion and compliment him about me, right? I'm sure they might have been doing some little side eyeing and trying to whatever, but the point is God made it right in his face. 5 minutes later, after he done said something sarcastic, now another whole man is coming up complimenting you about your woman. But sadly, as women, or sadly as people, we want that compliment to come from the individuals that we love, right? So it's almost like you can hear all day long, you're beautiful, or you're this, or you're that, you're this, but you really want it to come from the individuals who you love. So the things that your ex-husband have said to you and done to you after you had children and things like that, you got to unpack all that stuff, sis. All that stuff he said to you, you got to unpack all that. You got to sit in a single healing season. Don't worry about, well, I don't have time to be in no year of a isolation single season because that's another year. I'm going to be 56. Well, listen, you're going to be 96 and miserable if you don't take a year and heal. Or even longer, potentially. Some people have been in single season for 10 years, honey. But I hope this helps you. But you are everything. You got to know it. You got to know it. But that confidence, that true internal confidence will come when you stand your truth and knowing who you are and are not allowing others to dictate how you see yourself or how your life should be. There are people who are in miserable marriages and relationships based on what society has told them they should do. So again, everyone wants to look like the Jones, and most times the Jones aren't even happy behind closed doors. So do you, sis. Do you. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.